Hello everyone, good morning, and it's a few minutes past the hour. We are actually trying to figure out what the technical difficulty has been with Matt. There's some kind of internet outage or something like that in South Africa. So it's Sue and I for now until Matt can hopefully log on a little bit in the call, and also during that time I could see that everybody had an opportunity to log on, so that's great. I'd like to welcome everybody. Thomas, hello. Bill has shown up. Jonathan, Michael, all kinds of people logging in to this thing. I think we have a maximum of 12 people per Tech Foundation training. So I'm really glad that you're all here. This course is amazing, and we have a lot of testimonials about it, specifically because it helps set the stage for the construction of a full-on empire. And this is the stuff that we teach in our $20,000 live certification events every year. When you have this stuff under your belt, you're going to be really clear about your WR1 and the beginnings of your WRS1 ring. And so we're going to be getting into that. Let me just check and see where. Okay, more people logging in. So in the first webinar, this is a kickoff webinar where we'll be able to kind of give you a general overview, and what you're seeing now is Sue Bell's screen. Normally Matt drives us through this first session, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and give you a general overview. Also, I would like to point out that there are previous webinars for kickoff webinars that you can watch anytime, and they're available, of course, in your webinar archives. Another common question I got last night, there's the webinar archive she's pointing to at the bottom of the screen. Another question I get quite a bit is, how long does my membership to the Technical Foundation area last? And once you are in the Tech Foundation training system, you are always in the Tech Foundation 1 training system. That's the amazing thing about it, as while there are enhancements, and as we begin to add more things, and as new people come in and ask more questions, and we have more and more unique scenarios, you will have access to all of those. So that is very cool. And I'm really excited that everybody is here. So if you can hear us clearly, can you please give us a 1? And if you can see the screen, of course. If you can hear us and see us, will you give us a 1? Thanks, Bill. Everybody just give us a 1. If you cannot, for some reason, hear us, you wouldn't be able to give me a 2 because you wouldn't know that I'm saying, so I'm not going to do that one. Okay. Hello, Don, and Andy, and Ken. Everybody's here. Okay, good. So with no further ado, I guess we'll just jump right into the overview of what to expect in the Tech Foundation training and how to use the members training area while we're hopefully waiting for Matt to show up. And if he doesn't, that's okay. We'll provide you with any supplementary information that we need to in order to make you clear on how to use our whole system. Go ahead, Sue.
All right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So the Tech Foundation course is designed to walk you through, hold your hand all the way through the process of creating the WR1 and the WRS1 rings. So let me just let me pull that up over here on another tab for a minute. So the way we have this laid out, this is not dissimilar to what you're going to find in the niche domination track. The first week, we're going to walk through the introduction that we're going to walk through today, and then we go on and we talk about the ISDNA with the solutions and the pains to the solutions. Russ does that webinar. That'll be next week. The week after that, we talk about keywords and your competitors, and we tie that back to the pains so that when you find the pain that really resonates with your market, sometimes there's more than one, that actually leads you to the topics that you want to incorporate in your website. So that segues right into the keywords. You find those initial ideas, and then you do your keyword research to find the best ways to express those pains. We're going to give you access to Kraken. You get about a week's worth of Kraken where we'll do a bunch of drills for you. You give us a couple of keywords, and we'll do the initial exploration on the market for you. And hey, Russ, if you can find the link to Is it swallow your market whole?
For which, what are you trying to access?
The ring system. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yes.
it.
Okay. I'll drop that here.
Okay,
It's u-everywhere.com,
that's the
guys.
one I want.
And I'll go ahead and drop it here for you.
So those are the first couple of weeks. We're going to talk about the pains, and we're going to talk about the keywords and how those two things go together. And then we start setting up your site. Now, the setup of your site actually goes over the course of a couple of weeks. And before we tried to throw it all into like a week, and that made things kind of tight. So at this point, we break it down, and here in week 3, Matt's got all kinds of really great videos about all the different things that you have to do to set up the site. Underneath each one of these weeks, things break out quite extensively. So you walk through building, actually installing WordPress, getting a theme in there, installing Yoast, and some of the other great plugins, and then actually setting up the site, and so those happen over the course of a couple of weeks. And while you're doing that, then you're coming here and you're creating your actual blueprint in Domain Web Studio / Network Empire Builder, right? So the way that we approach creating your site is, I think he's actually got an image in here, but I'm not as familiar with his images, so I'm just going to talk through this a little bit. I'm not as familiar with where his images are. So the way we actually do creating the site in this course is modularly. We're going to attack the first silo. We're going to find the keywords for that silo. We're going to actually create that silo in Domain Web Studio or Network Empire Builder. And then you're going to export that in the XML and import it into your blueprint and have that feeling of success that you've got your first few pages up on your blog, right? And then you can create the content for it. You can either create, if you're using Domain Web Studio, you create the content in Domain Web Studio. If you're using Network Empire Builder, which is the light version, then you create it on your blog. So once you've got that first silo up, we're going to wrap back around and talk about actually creating painkiller content. And then as we progress through the next level, what you're going to do is go back and create the second silo and create the painkiller content for that and get that published. And then if you've got time, we're going to do the third silo. So as we work through those last 3 silos, we sally forward with the other things that you have to do, which is you need to get your social media sites set up, which doesn't actually take a long time. You need to create the one feed, which is simply taking the RSS feed from your blog and running it through Twitter feed and out into those social media sites. And so that creates a scaled-down version of the one feed that we teach in the members area, and it gets it so that your promotions are being automatically syndicated. Does that make sense? Give me a 1, guys, if that overview just kind of makes sense there. And a 2 if I lost you somewhere along the line. All right, good. So let's just talk about WR1 and WRS1 and the whole system here for a second. Just how many of you guys know the WR1, the WRS1, the whole ring system? Give me a 2 if you don't know it, because I won't beat dead horses if you guys are already familiar with it. All right, we got a couple people who aren't familiar with it, so let's go down that path. So the ring system was designed over the course of about 4 or 5 years. It started off with the idea that you've got your promotional sites and your money sites, right? Sites that you put your brand on, and those are your WR1s. Anything that you own, a domain that you own and you put your brand on, that's a WR1. And a domain that you don't own, a third-party platform, but that you put your brand on, is a WRS1. So if you have, let's say, ThemeZoom is my brand, and I've got a ThemeZoom network, a ThemeZoom Facebook page. Okay, that's an example of a WRS1. Now I've also got Network Empire, so that's a second example of a WR1 site, right? And Network Empire also has a fan page. So that's another WRS1. Not everybody has got multiple WR1 sites, and it's okay if you only have one. Some people have got, some people take their blog and their website and combine it into one site. Some people have the blog on a subdomain and the site on like the www. So you might have your main site on www.mysite.com, and you might have a blog on blog.mysite.com. Okay, those things are all WR1s. So the WR2s were these sites that I bought, and I didn't brand, but they still advertised my stuff. So we've got a couple of those. We've got things like keyworduniversity.com. What's another site, Russ, that we've got that's a WR2 site?
WR2, gosh, we have a lot of them. Curation Empire.
Yeah.
But these are all, again, I want them to be clear that there's different kinds of WR2s.
Absolutely.
There are safe places and safe ways to set up your network. This is what makes what we teach very different than a lot of the stuff that you hear out there. It's completely possible to create massive video automation websites, so it's really a lot of the myths and kind of misnomers out there that you hear, all the kind of controversy from everywhere from the Warriors Forum to SEO conferences, is all of those are generally based on fractions of the whole picture. And so what we're trying to give you guys here, starting with this tech foundation system, is the complete stackable system and course, is how everything works together, all the considerations that you need to take when building out a larger network. Because here's an interesting thing, is size matters, like where you're trying to go, and what your overall goal is of your site and or empire will determine what is safe and how it is safe, and that's what she's showing you here. There are things to, there are certain kinds of things that you can do in the network depending upon what you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly. So domains that you own, and they're not branded, are WR2s. And in our system, WR2s have got social profiles. And so those social profiles are the WRS2s, right? If it's typically we have got 4 of them. You got Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook and all of those things. They go in the WRS2. And then sometimes, if your market is competitive enough, you might need a WR3 ring. Those again are domains that you own, but they're not branded. And whereas these are pseudo-branded, they've got personas. The WR3s don't even have personas. And they also have got some social media. There's a WRS3 ring that sits outside of that, but it's a completely different animal. And so if you were to look at normal PBNs, they would most closely resemble our WR3s, but they're still not exactly the same animals. And so this is just a system that's grown up over time. As we've experimented the stuff that's worked really well for us, the more we did it, the more we formalized it, and so that's what this is. And so this course, you can kind of turn this on its side, and you can look at it and see it as being a funnel, right? You've got the WR3s, WRS3s, they've got the most tangent keywords, they've got the largest keyword lists, so they're kind of at the top of the funnel. And then as you go down further, you're more and more clear about the keywords addressing the pains that you're after until you finally get down into the WR1, WRS1, which are absolutely about the pains and talking about the pains and communicating directly with your customer in that regard. And so this course is going to cover the WR1 and the WRS1 and creating those 2 platforms. Okay. Is that clear to everybody? Give me a 1 if that's clear and a 2 if it's a little fuzzy still. All right, good. Okay, excellent. So let's come back here and talk about the foundation course again for a moment. So we're in the middle of revamping everything in here. So so right now we've got the first 3 or 4 weeks that have been completely revamped, and by the time you get to week 5, we'll have the rest of it revamped. So what happens is you've got a landing page, that's going to talk a little bit about where you are for that particular week. So as you can see in this particular week, we're here. We're going to do this bit right here. And this is really going to be the stuff that we cover. We're going to cover it in the webinar next week. You can certainly work ahead and do some of this. You can watch the video from last week and start to work through it a little bit so that when you get on the webinar, you've got questions, like you kind of have an idea about what doesn't make sense. We still do a presentation. We're going to walk through it a little bit, but it's really good if you can be a little bit ahead so that you understand what it is that you don't understand, so as to speak. All right, so this image is going to walk you through all the way through the 8-week process, and don't be terrified that this looks like a whole bunch of stuff. There's a couple of different paths. You're either going to go this way or you're going to go that way, and you do that again here. You either go this way or you go that way. That's just depending on whether you're using DWS Pro or Network Empire. So everything we cover every week, we just cover a couple of topics. The videos from last week, good point, or from the last class, we've got some key videos that we put in here when they're like, you guys really need to watch this. But the entire webinar archive is down here at the bottom of the menu. And it should walk you through. We've got some frequently asked questions here. You might find the answers to those things first there. And then we've got like week 1 induction. That's this week's webinar, right? And then we've got week 2, the art of persuasion, which are some of the ones that Russell's done before. And week 3, market analysis, where I talk about TLKT and Kraken. And week 4, and so on. Okay? So let's come back here to week 1. So you can see we've got all these things here under week 1. And the idea behind week 1 is that this is success through definition. And so we want to talk about, you want to sit down and have a hard look at what it is you're actually selling. What is it that you want to accomplish with your website? The thing that I find most common with why people actually, obviously we've had a members area for years and we've had subscribers for years, and there have been people who have come to me after they've been subscribed to us for a couple of years and they're like, wow, we really love your stuff, but we've still never built our first website. And I think one of the reasons that people don't get their first website built is because they're not really clear on what it is that they're selling. So one of the things that actually the main point of what it is that we're trying to get to here in this first week, so between today and the next webinar, is for you to determine exactly what the heck it is you're selling. And within that, we go through several steps. Okay, the first one is to actually define what it is you're selling. And we've got the link here to a Google Doc that you're welcome to make a copy of. You can just come up here to File and say make a copy, and then you've got your own copy in your own area. All right. So what the heck is it that you're selling? So this is going to talk about your company, and this is going to talk about your product target market, and the benefits and the features and the USP. And if you've got a bunch of products, like some people have got entire e-commerce stores, then think about your categories rather than individual products. If you've just got 1 or 2 products, then it's a great thing to kind of go through and think about these for each one of your products. We actually do this for our products. Not every section is going to apply to every product, and if it doesn't apply, then just skip it and go on to the next area. But what you really want to do is you want to look at, you want to clearly think about your product. What is it? What's the target market? What are your competitors doing? And actually go look for your competitors. Take your most common couple of keywords and go look at how your competitors are expressing what it is they're selling. What are they doing on their sales pages? And what do you like about the sales pages and what don't you like about the sales pages? All of this helps you get your product more firmly in your head. The next thing is, who are you selling to? All right, so this is more about you getting inside of the head of the person to whom you're selling. And Matt's got a really great rap on this because he went through this process when he was creating a website for his wife's salon sassy. And they defined the fact that there's actually 5 different people who are wanting to get their hair done, right? And each of them in a different point in their life. So the market demographic there is basically age-oriented, and each of them are looking for a different thing, right? When you're in school or as a very young adult, it's mostly about going to parties. You get a little bit older, you can get a little bit more professional. It's about looking good in the workplace. You get a little bit older, you got gray roots, you need to have your hair taken care of, those kinds of things. So they looked at all of that, and they looked at what each one of those demographics did and where the profit really was. So when you're looking at these guys that are, let me see if I can just blow this up for a second. When you're looking at these guys that are 16 to 18, you know, they come in once, maybe twice. They come in for like the balls, right, for the school dances and stuff. And so this is not a really profitable demographic. Then you've got the 18 to 24-year-olds, college, university, young working professional, brides, bridesmaids, moms, wives. And out of all of that, the thing that really stands out as being lucrative are the brides, right, the weddings. Because when you do a wedding, you do the hair of the, not just the, I need more coffee. You're not just doing the bride's hair, but you're also doing the maids of honor, right? The whole, everybody, all of the women that are in the wedding. So that's usually quite expensive. So that's got some value in doing that. And so I believe they ended up doing an entire aspect of their website that was around weddings. But when you want to talk about where the bread and butter comes in, it's from these 2 demographics here, right, from the 35-year-olds to the 25-year-olds, because those are the ladies that tend to come in every single week, or you know, regularly. I shouldn't say every week, but you know, you've got like every 3 to 6 weeks, and they're consistent. So that consistency means either repeat customers, and that's where the solid foundation for the business comes in. Whereas, you know, typically weddings happen at a particular time of the year, depending on where you are. So that's not as consistent an income stream. So by looking at those 2 things, they decided how they were going to approach the website, who it was that was their target market, where they wanted to spend most of their time and most of their money actually going after those markets, and which market segments were less profitable. And while it wasn't that they were going to ignore them, they certainly weren't going to spend the same amount of money to try to get those people in the front door. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? You guys give me a 1 if that makes sense, and a 2 if it's fuzzy. All right, good. So not everybody breaks down, not everybody's market is going to break down demographics into ages. Demographics can also be broken down into income brackets, where you live, male, female. It just depends. So you want to spend time. The point of this is that when you're on, where am I? I think I popped this off, right? When you're here, you can go through the slideshow, and you can, I think there's, actually this is a video. So this is a vid where he walks through all of that. And he talks here in this image, he walks you through the things that you need to think about to figure out, you can pop this out and make it larger. Just click on that. He walks you through the things that you need to think about in order to figure out who your demographic is, different kinds of demographics, and who the people are that you want to target. And so you want to you want to actually have a picture of your target market in mind, right? You want to, if you can find an image online or in a magazine, you can cut this person out and you can stick it up on your board, and you can talk about this person. You get inside their head and you say, you know, this is the kind of things, this is the lifestyle that this person's got. This is what their interests are. This is whatever it is that you can figure out about your ideal demographic. You want to personalize it as much as possible. You want to talk about that for a minute, Russ? Because I know you've got strong opinions on it. Go for it.
Yep, sorry. I was slightly distracted. What is the question again?
Oh, I'm talking about personalizing your target market, like actually making a persona out of that person.
Yes,
And my question is, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so basically what you're going to want to do is have a very good idea of who your target market actually is. Now, one of the things that we have found, and another one of our friends, John Mizell, I don't know if you guys are familiar with John Mizell, he's also very big on doing this. It's actually something you essentially have to do if you're going to enhance or improve a very, very large paid campaign. And I found that it works really, really well if you actually create one or two, or depending upon the size of the market, and Sue and I are still working on how many you would do for like a major vertical, what exactly the person looks like. In fact, we have found that it actually helps to create an artificial identity or a real identity if you actually know somebody, if you come across somebody. So in other words, literally, when it comes to defining your market life cycle, target the person, like get a picture of the person. When we're put the picture of the person on the wall and the age bracket and what matters to them or what they care about. In other words, this is, let me see if I can give you an example. This is, Sarah Klein. She is a naturopath. She has 3 kids. She likes to do this. Okay, the reason that she's buying this product is for this. She discovered this product when she happened to be blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the purpose of doing this is to give yourself a sense of what's happening in the human world. And because some of the tools that we offer you are so, shall I say, technical, in the sense that some of the tools like Kraken and DWS are so powerful that it would be easy to forget that you're actually solving the pain. You're actually providing a painkiller in the marketplace. And what we found is early on, once you have that target persona or several target personas in mind, maybe 2 men and 2 women or 1 woman or 1 man, or depending upon who your product or service is for, it becomes easier somehow to build. It humanizes it, and in the process of humanizing it, allows you to more clearly understand the words and the high-level vertical market research that you're going to be participating in with all these tools, because you're going to be really seeing how all of our tools and systems are stacked, especially as you begin week 2 and 3, where we get into the stackable persuasion to keyword theme architecture. Persuasion architecture and silo architecture are all going to come together for you so that both the human world and the machine world are going to be appeased. In other words, you're going to be designing your website so that persuasion architecture, that human response to these silo landing pages and to your website and to your videos and to your content is very, very high. In other words, huge level of response, while at the same time having a fully integrated technical website silo architecture for higher rankings. Give me 1 if that makes sense, or just trying to get a sense of whether it's clear what I'm saying. Give me a 2 if it does not make sense, if I need to go expand just a little bit more. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay, it looks like we understand. So generally speaking, one of the ways you can do this, and Sue and I did this early on, is we will actually interview real people within our business. Now, if you don't have a real business going and you're on this foundation training because you are just getting started, maybe you have an idea of a product, you wanted to learn how to do this, so you just brought something kind of random. There's a couple of you I know who really haven't made a lot of sales in a product. In fact, you've never even sold it once, and you're building a site because you want to learn the system. That's all fine too, but even you will need to go through the process of creating a profile for an individual so that you know who you're selling it to. Another thing that happens when you're creating a profile identity to define the market life cycle is when you start to create it, you'll realize that you didn't know your market at all. And as you create it, you're like, well, this type of person would never really buy my product. This is the wrong persona. And then it actually helps you to ask a couple of deeper questions until you have a persona of somebody who's going to buy your product, who's going to be searching for the solution you provide.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I just want to kind of get a feel at this point. Would you guys give me a 2 if you're an affiliate marketer, if you're selling somebody else's product, and give me a 1 if you're selling your own product, if you have your own business? Interesting. We've got okay. Some people are both. Several people are both. Okay, good.
And for the purposes of this course, and you'll see it when we get into what the heck are you selling, you're going to really need to probably focus on 1. If you are master learners, I can see, trying to do something more advanced, but really you're going to see how we stack everything, and the persuasion, the profitability calculator and stuff. That's the main thing you're going to start to look at. You're going to run the numbers and see how much money you really stand to make. Okay, and hopefully all of you know that pretty much you make more money selling your own product unless you're an affiliate. If you're not, that's okay too. We'll still run the calculations with you and show you how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And how many of you guys have a very clear idea of the product that you want to build the website for this course? And give me a 2 if you're not quite sure yet. All right. I want everybody to answer this because I'm going to take a picture of this one. So, all right. Just grab a quick picture. Hang on. All right. Thanks. Okay. So let's come back here for a minute. So that's who you're selling to. The next thing we've got is give you some organization to some of your ideas. So without a doubt, you're going to come into this with some concepts about some keywords, who it is you think thinking that you're selling it to, and as you think along those lines, you're going to have some keywords. Maybe you have some client keywords. Maybe you found some keywords while you were doing what the heck you're selling and you're looking at the competitor sites. And so this gives you the facility for how you can organize those ideas, just how to think a little bit clearer about these concepts. And just pop that up a little bit bigger so that we can all look at it for a second. So this falls into basically 3 different concepts. One is tangent markets, right? So pretty much every market's got some tangent markets, right? Some markets that relate to, they're not things that you're going to promote on your website, but they're going to be good concepts for places where you might want to do some cross-advertising, or you might want to buy some banner ads on those kinds of things. So, so for example, through this first section, he's talking a little bit about somebody who's interested in the yoga market. And so if you're promoting yoga products, either a yoga studio or yoga products, then you might want to do some cross-advertising on diet sites, fashion sites, health and wellness sites, possibly even some family sites, right? All of those concepts are tangent markets. And as you're thinking about that, you might come across some ideas about the pains that people who are interested in yoga might have, reasons for being interested in yoga in the first place, right? They might be afraid of being overweight or getting older. They might be lonely. They might be looking for some kind of social outlet. And one of the things that Russ will really get into next week is the pain behind the pain, and like the questions that people ask, finding the pains behind those questions, like really finding those the neuro indicators that sit behind the questions, the frequently asked questions that people are doing the searches for. When you find those ideas and you speak to those ideas, or at least sometimes you can just hold them in your head while you're writing the copy, the persuasion is much more effective. So all of these kinds of concepts, you can come through here and you can just kind of map out where your stuff is and keep track of it. Matt's got a really great system that's part of this that I haven't used well enough to feel comfortable showing you, so I'll have him do a video as soon as he comes back online and get it out to you guys. It's also going to be available in the first webinar from last season that shows you how to use his software, where you can record all your ideas. You can record your epiphanies as you move through the course, the sticking points and the solutions to those things, and that just helps you for the next time that you build a website. You can go back and reference all of that material. As Russ said, you've always got access to this section, you've always got access to that software, so it's a nice place, it's a nice electronic place to keep all of your notes so that you can go back and refer to them later. So then we get into the live project part of this, where he's going to talk to you a little bit about his experience as, and you can see he's got some videos in here, and the videos that he's got in here he keeps pretty short. But he actually talks to you about the experience that he had going through and doing this section for SASE. So defining the market life cycle, defining the products, going through and actually creating all of the content for this. So you can watch those vids and get a better idea, particularly if you're stuck on something. But he just talks about a lot of good concepts in those videos that will help you work through this first week and get a good solid foundation. This week and next week are probably the two most important weeks out of the course, because when you get firmly fixed in your head what it is you're selling, who it is you're selling to, and next week we talk about the pains, then you've got a firm foundation. You've built this really great foundation, and everything else after that is oh so much easier. And the thing that we really found over the years, because we started off with ThemeZoom 3.0, which was a keyword tool, we moved it into Kraken, which was a market research tool, and then created TLKT a little while later. People were starting actually in the second phase, and they would spend all of this time basically keyword surfing and looking for, quote, the perfect keyword, right? As opposed to, and never finding the keyword. They were never certain that they had the keywords that they really needed to be able to make money with it. And the more that Russ was back engineering why they were stuck, the more we became aware of it's the fact that they haven't asked the questions in the beginning to understand what it is they're selling and who it is they're selling to and what the pains are in the marketplace. So once you've got these three things, then everything else is a piece of cake. Finding the keywords literally just pop off the page and say, pick me, pick me.
That's right, yeah.
And then as you get to writing the content, it's not difficult to write the content because you're writing the content about the pains that you found all the way back at the beginning. So writing the content becomes easy, and building the whole website and everything else, it just becomes the technical aspects of implementing the things that you found in the first couple of weeks. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a 2 if that makes sense, or 1 if that makes sense, and 2 if it's a little fuzzy. All right, good. Okay, so you can see here, we've picked actually what, we talk a little bit about network traffic funnel here. If you guys want to dig into that, it's kind of what I was talking about with the ring thing and turn it on the side and the funnel that goes, the funnel that creates. And then I've actually pulled one of the first induction webinars that I'm sure that this is going to talk about is software. This is probably a really great Webby to watch. A little bit of it is going to be redundant, but Matt expresses everything that I explained here in a little bit different way. So, and then I'm sure that in here it'll show you how to use that software too. And then finally, last but not least, at the end we've got a checklist so that you know that you've done the things that you need to do for this week. That's down here at the bottom. And and just kind of a summary about what it was that you covered. So you can pretty much just work through the menu, and that'll be there every week. Most weeks aren't quite this long. We just have a lot of ideas to cover here, and that's how you work through the entire 8-week process. And by the time we get to the 8th week, you'll have at least one silo completed. You'll have gone through the entire process once, and you'll have all of your panes and everything, probably your whole keyword DNA completed. And so then it's just the time-consuming aspect of reiterating that through all of your silos. And that's the Tech Foundation course. Anybody have any questions? As we prep for next week's Webby/training, can we send questions? Oh, yes, that whole part. So we've got 2 ways that you can talk to us. One is, I have to go find the software now. Hang on a second.
Yeah, it's in the, this is the one part
that
we need Matt to show it.
I found the link.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
It's good.
You never know where you stick something. Okay.
Oops. No, that wasn't the link I was looking for.
Like I said. So,
shoot.
The main thing also is to realize that you guys all should be inside the Tech Foundation Skype group, because there's stuff that happens in there. If you would like to be added, either Matt will add you or I can add you. My Skype address is just request and remind me where you are coming from at ThemeZoom. It's my Skype address. And I'll drag you into the Tech Foundation group. And the very minimum, once Matt's technical difficulty gets resolved, we will create both videos or, if we need to, and I really have to talk to him about this, we'll do an extra follow-up since he had a technical issue, so we can show you how to use the coaching system. There's a coaching system in here that he wrote, and it's fairly new, so there's some things that we need to show you where your previous questions can be looked at and from other sessions.
There we go.
Is that it? Is it Coaching Manager? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
And show them where you
let me just
show them where you got to that as well.
drop the link.
Normally he gives this wrap, guys. So
yeah.
So Bill's asking.
So this is
no. Go ahead.
Induction webinar, week 1. The webinar that I said you guys probably ought to watch. That's That's where the link is to the Coaching Manager for the course. So so I'm even more convinced that this is actually going to be the video that shows you how to use the software. And let me see if I can log in here. Hang on. No, I don't have my username yet. So when you get in here, there's a place where you can ask your questions and record all your information. And you can also ask your questions inside the help desk. And there's a special Skype group, which Russ was just talking about, and we'll make sure we get all you guys added to that within the next couple of days. If you get stuck, if you get stuck and you need help right away, actually, I tell you, the Skype thing is really, you can schedule time with Matt. He's got a time trade account, and so you can schedule time to talk to either him or Russ or myself, right? So if you want some help with positioning, feel free to request some time with Russ, and we'll help you through the sticking points. Usually the sticking points come in the first couple of weeks, and we want to get you off to a good start and make sure that everything is smooth. There's also the possibility that you might get stuck as you start to build out your website or your blog. What we'll actually walk you through is building out both. If you're going to do a website on a www subdomain, for example, and a blog on a blog subdomain, we'll walk you through creating both of those and the differences between them. So that's what this course is all about, as well as the social media that goes around that. So if you get stuck with any of the technical stuff, also, if you get stuck anywhere, that's what we're here for. That's what this course is about. Just stick your hand up. But you'll probably get fast help from buddies, and all of us keep the eye on that Skype group. We're more in that Skype group than we're in the general Skype group, so you'll get some pretty fast response in there. And then And then along with the course, you get something like 4 hours worth of one-on-one time with us, as well as the webinars. So is that clear to everybody? Makes sense? Any other questions?
Excellent, guys. Gals.
Okay.
Fantastic. And again, in the Skype group, we'll be giving you follow-ups. We'll give you updates about Matt's situation here. Yeah. And so you're going to have some extra goodies so that you get the full brunt of his introduction as well.
Yeah.
All right. So
right.
Generally speaking, we're going to meet the same bat time, same bat hour every, what day is it again, Sue?
It's Thursday. Yeah. So we're here every week for the next 8 weeks. And exactly, more coffee, definitely. We'll be here next week with more coffee. In fact, Matt's coming next week. He'll be here not for the next webinar, but for the webinar after that. We'll all be kibitzing here in Arizona. So
yep.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yes. All right, guys. And actually, we'll be seeing you throughout the day today. I'll be expecting you. I want to see every one of you inside the Tech Foundation group, okay? And just keep in mind that there will be other people in there that you may not have met because they are previous students. And I can see a couple of previous students is auditing.
They've snuck onto the call? Oh, no.
Okay. Yes, Michael and a few other people are asking. My Skype address is ThemeZoom. I shouldn't assume that you know what ThemeZoom is, but that's the company that started it all, and that's THE Amazon Michael EZOOM ThemeZoom. That's the Skype address. So do a request on that. Also, you can ask Matt. You're going to all have follow-up time. Obviously, you know that coaching hours, office hours are part of this. Yes, Brian, this is all recorded. Not a problem.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next one, and we'll see you around daily. Talk to you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
The organizer has ended